Information-fueled.
Opinion-driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Want to welcome on into the program your Farb, your radio bunny, Brian Wilson.
Hey, Dan, how's it going, man?
I think I accidentally called you your radio bunny. I meant buddy.
Buddy.
I did. Did you pick up on that?
I'll just hop right in over here and tell you what's going on.
There you go.
Now that's funny.
That's exactly. Listen, Brian Wilson hopping, we don't need an earthquake. No,
no, we don't. We really don't. Although not quite as heavy as I once was, that's for sure.
That's very true. Saw you a couple of weeks ago. Let's talk a little bit about Senator Crazy Hirono and her BS questioning of Pete Hegseth. Listen to this.
Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
She sounds drunk, Brian.
Did you know if it's wrong to be drunk at work? Well,
right. We were talking about this earlier. And here's the thing, is that yesterday there were basically several lines of attack. And at least to me, none legit. Let me play the rest of this audio.
Senator, those
yes
are
or no?
multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC
Do
News
you know that
run directly contradictory to the dozens of men and women at Fox News Channel who I work with.
I'm not hearing the answer to my
record.
question.
You know, it seems to me, Brian, like he handled those respectfully yet aggressively.
He had just the right tone. I mean, first of all, he's a great communicator, and it's very clear. But he really knocked it out of the park. I mean, this was a contentious hearing. The Democrats were loaded for bear. They were coming after him. And he just knocked it out of the park. He was able to shut down people like Kristen Gillibrand and Miss
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren and just completely. He was in control the whole time, and he looked reasonable. And he had reasonable answers. And look, I expect that he's going to be confirmed pretty easily. I don't know what Susan Collins or Murkowski's going to do, but the big sign that everything was looking pretty good for him yesterday was when Joni Ernst, Republican senator from Iowa, put out a statement saying basically that she would support the nomination, having had a chance to question him there in the room. And that was the one that a lot of people were looking at. And if she's on board, it's hard to imagine that there are going to be many other Republicans who have problems with that nomination. So I think he's in.
Yeah, CNN was talking. They had a headline earlier today that he was on a glide path to confirmation.
Yeah, the skids are greased. So there you go.
I want to play an audio bite for you because I bet you have an incredible perspective on this because you covered Capitol Hill for years. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. I don't know if you've heard this.
Oh, I have heard this, and I love it.
Out of Oklahoma, and there's all this talk about Pete Hegseth and he's a drunk and all of this kind of stuff. Well, he went after Tim Kaine, but also all of these politicians who were accusing Pete Hegseth of being a drunk.
Senator Kaine, or I guess I better use the senator from Virginia, starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No, but it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye. We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too.
There you go. So, I mean, love it on a number of different aspects. Number one is he is calling out the Democrats on their clear hypocrisy. I mean, how many of these folks believe that Bill Clinton is a political god, right?
That's right. Well, I mean, Tim Kaine came at him on that kind of stuff yesterday, and I got to tell you, I had not seen Tim Kaine in a while. You know, this is a person who ran with the Hillary Clinton as a running mate. So this is somebody that is known to us. he looked like, I hate to say this, but he looked like somebody you'd find laying in a back alley over by the, some back alley in Washington, D.C. He looked horrible.
He looked like disheveled Danny, didn't he?
Did you think, am I right or wrong about that, John?
I have been in his presence a number of times, and he's never looked like that.
He looked like, somebody who shouldn't be casting stones about heavy drinking.
Listen, he has probably been drinking since Trump won.
I think a lot of Democrats are drinking pretty heavily. In the Senate, they have these things called hideaways. And most of them are on the fourth floor of the actual Capitol building on the Senate side. And I have been invited from time to time up to one of the hideaways where senators. It's the place that they go. Staff can't get to them there when they're hanging out between votes, and they know they're going to be going back and forth and doing a bunch of votes and a big vote-a-rama. They hang out in these hideouts, and there have been more than a few occasions where people have come down from the hideouts, and not perhaps in the best state of clear thinking. In other words, they sit up there and they drink and they play cards, and I know this to be true. Some of them, maybe don't have anybody watching them that closely, and I bet they've come down many occasions a little sauced.
Now, did the Democrats and Republicans drink and smoke cigars and play cards together? Or
there was a time and a place where that was true. I mean, when I first started covering the place way back in the 80s, I know, a long time ago, and you would beat each other's brains out on the floor, but there was not uncommon to raise a glass at the end of the day. For some reason, that's feeling of we're all in this together. Many people thought it was a little clubby. I always thought that it was helpful to have people on the other side that you could talk to. It made compromise from time to time possible, and compromise, it seems to be something that is a dirty word in Washington of these days.
Well, the other thing that I would find interesting about that is that a safe space? Like, can you actually just speak freely, and then it's going to come back and bite you in the butt because they're going to go public with whatever you may have said after a few drinks?
It is generally considered a safe, non-political space for them. Democrats and Republicans have offices up there that are next to each other. So I got invited, of all things, to see Senator Robert Byrd's hideaway one time. And he said, come on up. And so I went up. They said, wow, let me tell you, swank. And most people don't know anything about these hideaways, but they are swank.
Our tax dollars hard at work, clearly.
Yeah.
7:15. Okay, so Brian, got a lot of other things I want to talk to you about. Got to check the roads real quickly on WTN. Weather today, a high of 39 and sunny. Right now, 20 degrees. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Wednesdays with Wilson. Brian Wilson joining us here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, Brian, real quickly, with all of the soapboxing that the Democrats did yesterday, Republicans do the same thing. I mean, that's just part of what the political confirmation process is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I've covered so many confirmation battles over the years as they go. I mean, I covered Bork, for goodness sakes. And as these things go, this was not the harshest of hearings that I have ever attended. And it's pretty predictable that the Democrats are going to be against most of these nominees. They have not learned a thing from the past election, not a thing, because they keep doing the same things over and over and over. They haven't it hasn't sunk in with them yet that they how badly they did with the American people, and that the American people are ready for a change.
Well, isn't that the definition of insanity, Brian? Doing the same thing over and over again?
Over and over. Well, that's absolutely right.
Say the same thing about their policies.
I'm really looking forward to getting back up there for a few days. As you know, I'm packing out right now to go to the inauguration, and we'll be providing coverage from Washington, D.C. Starting Friday. I'll be there on Monday on your show to kick things off, and on every show throughout the day as we watch the second inauguration. And it's going to be interesting. Security is going to be about as tight as I think as you can possibly be. Nobody's going to take any chances after things that have happened in the past.
No, you're right, and they shouldn't. I don't know if you saw this, Brian, but Joe Biden has come out with his farewell letter this morning.
Yeah. And we all get treated to a farewell speech tonight, right?
Yeah, right. And, the farewell letter, if the farewell letter is any indication of what the speech is going to be like, it's just more gaslighting. And one of the things I couldn't believe that he said is America's more secure now than it was 4 years ago. Do they think that we're dumb?
He is completely delusional at this point. And, I count staff as being responsible for this because it's become very clear as we are hearing more and more stories about the White House and how it has functioned under a dysfunctional president. And what we have learned is that they were keeping a lot of things from him. Even, when he was running for re-election, when he was the candidate, they weren't telling him the truth. They would just tell him whatever they thought he wanted to hear. And he still believes and all of the things. I mean, he steadfastly believes it. And this is all about ego. This is all about burnishing your reputation and trying to, come out and set the tone for the historians who will decide, as we go forward. But to me, clearly in my lifetime as a reporter, this has been the weakest administration I've ever witnessed.
All right, now, I was going to ask you, because I think you and I both agree. Were you surprised? There was a poll a while ago, and I don't even know all the details, but they said that Nixon was seen as worse than Joe Biden. Now, that is well before my political awareness. Obviously, I know
mine
about
too, actually.
Okay, so, but it does seem to me that just from yes, there was Watergate. But when you look at the amount of illegal aliens that have come into our country, the amount of possible terrorists that have come into our country, the disastrous foreign policy, I was just a little surprised by that because what's happened these days with Biden has just been terrible. All right, very quickly, I've only got like 60 seconds left. Gavin Newsom.
Oh, God. California, what a mess.
What a mess.
It's a mess of their own making to some degree, and it's sad that the elected officials there made such bad decisions that they weren't able to have the tools, the people, the water that they needed to fight these fires. But I got to just say, in looking at these pictures, I've seen some bad things in my day. Going to natural disasters and hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes. And I've seen a lot of bad stuff. I have never seen anything like the images that are coming out of California. It is shocking.
It is horrific. Now, yes or no? Is Gavin Newsom done politically?
I think so.
All right. 7:20, Nashville's Morning News. Brian, always great to have you on. Looking forward to hearing you live from the swamp in Washington, D.C. next week. That's going to be an epic broadcast. And as always, thanks for joining us on WTN. 7:20, Dan Mandis here. Friends, you know that January can be a time to clean, purge, and actually become healthier. Zero Res can help you do just that. They offer you a healthier way to clean your home. And using Zero Res means that they use cleaning agents that leave your carpet cleaner and healthier than those other carpet cleaning companies. Now, you know that when they use their special technology, ZR Water, they leave no soap, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. So they're going to come in, they're going to clean, they're going to sanitize their surfaces without the use of detergents or those harsh chemicals, which means that, yes, your carpet does stay cleaner longer, unlike those other carpet cleaning companies. I have been a customer of Zero Res for years now. Right now, they've got a great deal going on. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for just $99. And you can celebrate the new year with 25% off of upholstery cleaning. So be healthy, stay healthy in 2025 with Zero Res. Restrictions may apply. 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com. 721, Joan Jones has the news at 7:30. Joan.
Antioch, the scene of another deadly shooting overnight. Also, President Biden bids farewell to the nation tonight. We'll have those stories at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.